Climate change, the insane plan to save the Arctic sea ice. We're going to read into this interesting story from the BBC, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the BBC with the headline of Climate Change, the insane plan to save the Arctic sea ice. This is a fascinating one, guys. This is a really fascinating one. So I haven't fully read the article, but I've read a little bit already, and I'm quite fascinated to know about this and how this is going to help. So this essentially is about pumping salt water into the Arctic ice sea. So how is this going to work? Well, let's read a bit into it and I'll share my thoughts as we go along, guys. But just before we do, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So perched off the sea ice off Canada's northern coast, parka-clad scientists watch saltwater pump out over the frozen ocean. Their goal is to slow global warming. As the sea ice vanishes, the dark ocean surface can absorb more of the sun's energy, which accelerates warming, so the researchers want to thicken it to stop it melting away. Welcome to the wackier side of geoengineering, deliberately inverting in the Earth's climate system to try and counteract the damage we have done to it. So, the idea of the pumping salt water into the frozen ocean, into the ocean, is to stop it from melting and making it thicker so that it doesn't melt. I don't know how it's going to need I don't know about you guys, but it's going to need quite a lot of salt water for it to work, but maybe that's just me. So geoengineering, including more stabilized efforts to lock up planet warming gases such as planting more trees and burying carbon underground. But more experimental measures aim to go a step further, seeking to reduce the energy absorbed by the Earth. Many scientists are strongly opposed, warning that such an attempt distracts from critical steps of cutting carbon emissions and risks doing more harm than good. So, so some scientists are not so keen on this. But with help, a small number of advocates claim their approach could give the planet a helping hand while humanity cleans up its act. The ultimate goal of the Arctic experiment is to thicken enough sea ice to slow or even reverse the melting already seen, said Dr Shaun Fitzgerald, whose team at the University of Cambridge Centre for Climate Repair is beyond the project. Will it work, or is it, as one scientist put it, quite insane? We don't actually know enough to determine whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, admits Dr Fitzgerald. The researchers have been braving bitter conditions at Cambridge Bay, a tiny Canadian village in the Arctic Circle. It's quite cold. Yeah, it would be quite cold up there. You don't say. Andrea Celity of Real Ice, a British company leading the trip, tells me via patchy Zoom connection from inside a flapping white tent. It's about -30 with a strong wind, which brings the temperatures to -45 with a wind chill factor. They are drilling a hole in the sea ice that naturally forms in the winter and pumping around 1,000 litres of seawater per minute across the surface. Exposing to the cold winter air, the seawater quickly freezes, helping to thicken the ice on top. The water also compacts the snow. As fresh snow acts as a good insulating layer, now ice also forms more easily on the underside of the contact with the ocean. The idea is that the thicker the ice at the end of the winter, the longer it will survive when it goes into the melt season, Mr. Cerrone explains. So this is what they're doing. They're pumping a pump is used to flood the sea ice surface with seawater, which will then freeze. It's a crazy, wacky idea. It does sound a bit crazy. Like I don't know if this is gonna. It's only a theory, to be fair. Speaking to me towards the end of the trip, they've already seen the ice thickened by a few centimetres across the small study area. The ice will be monitored by locals in the months ahead, but it is far too early to say whether their approach can actually make a difference to the rapid decline in the Arctic sea ice. The vast majority of polar scientists think that this is never going to work out, cautions Martin Sergett, an experienced geologist at the University of Exeter who is not involved in the project. One issue is that the saltier the ice may melt more quickly in the summer. Yeah, it's very possible. And then there is the huge logistical challenge of scaling the project up to a meaningful level. One estimate suggests that you could need about 10 million wind-powered pumps to thicken the sea ice across a tenth of the Arctic. It's just quite insane, in my opinion, that this could be done at scale for the entire Arctic Ocean. To Julius Stovey, a professor of polar observation and modelling at the University College London. So, just this for context, this map here, this is a source from the National Solar and Ice Data Centre, the NSIDC. So this is shrinking of the extended Arctic sea ice. So for those who are thinking that global warming isn't affecting us at all, you can see. So the Cambridge Bay on the side there of Canada, and you can see in 1979, this was 19. If you see the 1979, that was the amount of ice that was around it. 2023 shows there how much of the sea ice it is now. So that's how much has been lost since then, basically. So you can see that much of the ice has not come back since then. Some of the more experimental geoengineering suggests is trying to make clouds more reflective by generating extra sea spray and mimicking volcanic eruptions to reflect more of the sun's energy back into space. A number of scientists, including the UN's climate and weather bodies, have warned that these approaches could pose grave risk, including disrupting global weather patterns. Many researchers want to see them banned altogether. Geoengineering technologies come with enormous uncertainties and create novel risks and ecosystems and people, explaining Lily Furr, Director of Fossil Economic Program at the Centre for International Environmental Law. The Arctic is essential to sustaining our planetary systems, pumping sea water onto sea ice on a large scale that could change ocean chemistry and threaten the fragile web of life. And there is a more fundamental, widespread concern that these types of projects. The real danger is providing a distraction, so people with vetted interests will use it as an excuse to keep burning fossil fuels, Professor Wigson Sudgerwin warns. Frankly, it's insane. It needs to be stopped. The way to solve this crisis is to decarbonise, and our best and only way forward. That is the best, most logical, understandable way about trying to stop our planet from getting too warm. That's the most logical thing that that pretty much the majority of scientists want. There was this video I saw on TikTok a long time ago. Well, I say a long time ago, before TikTok, but I think it was about a year or two ago I saw on TikTok. I don't use TikTok now, but essentially what they had, and if someone can find me the video or find something linked to it, would be greatly appreciated. The concept idea was they had this ship that would and it would basically be a massive freezer, and what it would do is create it would basically swallow it in tons and tons of water and then turn it into massive chunks of ice. This would be a humongous ship, like a massive ship, and it'd have a massive freezer on it, and it sucks in all the water and then freezes it and then pushes it and then sends that big chunk of ice back out into the ocean in attempts to basically stop to create, essentially creating giant cubes of ice, essentially out into the ocean. It is a concept idea. I don't know if that idea has ever been looked upon, or if anyone knows any of this idea, but I did see it ages ago on TikTok, but I never saw it anywhere else. I don't know if anyone's aware of such an idea. Let me know if you have in the comments below. But it sounds like a wacky idea, like that one as well. But if you think about it, because it depends obviously how much, how long it takes to obviously pump the water in and then freeze it and then push it back out. Would that make a difference? It's just there's lots of questions about, and lots of ways that they can help slow down the change. The Arctic researchers are acutely aware of these concerns. They stress that they are simply testing the technology and wouldn't unleash it more widely until the risks are better known. We're not here promoting this as the situation to climate change in the Arctic, Dr Fitzgerald stresses. We're saying this could be a part of it. We've got to go and find out a lot more before society can then decide whether it's a sensible thing or not. I agree. Like, you have to try. Like, if this, I mean, if you got to try things on a smaller scale, and if it does, then maybe perhaps worth trying on a larger scale if the tests prove to be in agreement with him. They agree that geoengineering is no silver bullet to tackling climate change, but that steep cuts to fossil fuel and carbon emissions are most important in averting the worst consequences of warming. They point out, even with rapid action, the world still faces a difficult future. The Arctic Ocean is likely to be effective free by sea ice by the end of summer, by at least once by 2050, and possibly even sooner, as the graph below shows. It is already experiencing steep declines since the 1980s. So this is from the National Show and Ice Data again, a 5-day rolling average of sea ice extended here. So it's showing the sea ice has been declining. Minimum sea ice extended per year in millimeters square kilometers from 1979 to 2003, and you can see it has, obviously, as seasons go up and down, as they normally do, but it has slowly, really, like from 2000 onwards, there, according to its history, it's really declined, and it hasn't really gone back up since then. So that's from them. So we need other solutions, argue the PhD student Jacob Palin, a researcher at the Centre for Climate Repair, who braves the icy winds at Cambridge Bay. We have to reduce emissions, but even if we do them as quickly as possible, the Arctic is still going to melt. And that's the thing. It is still like it's there, you know. We know that the ice is melting and it's not resurgitating enough. Now, some people have argued that, obviously, with the anti-climate people have argued that, oh, it's just perfectly normal for the planet for these things, but it's been scientifically proven that the human impact has been proven, and that the planet has gotten warmer as a result of it. But as this idea itself, about whether, you know, the salt idea, it's an idea. I mean, it's a wacky idea. I do agree it's a bit of a wacky idea, but we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how this experiment does. Maybe it will make a difference. Maybe it will stop some ice melting. Maybe it will make things worse. It's something that only time will tell. And obviously, it's an interesting thought, to say the least, because we do want to. You know, we do want to stop global warming. We do want to stop the planet getting warmer. If I'm honest, I think many people would agree with me that we don't want a roasting hot planet. You know, I don't think anyone wants that. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this crazy, wacky idea? What do you think about the other idea I suggested about a massive ship creating giant ice cubes and whatnot? Have you heard of such an idea, or any proposal like that? Or if you know somebody who does, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm curious to know about that. But also, on this crazy, wacky experiment, do you actually, or maybe some of you guys who are much more have scientific degrees than that on this, does salt water, would this actually make a difference? What do you guys honestly think? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or you can even join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.